Your toothbrush is about 6 inches long, made of nylon and plastic, and designed to be replaced every 3 months. It took thousands of years of human civilization to arrive at that object, and for most of that time, people were doing something else entirely, and doing it surprisingly well. The first thing to understand is that ancient teeth were not a disaster. That's the assumption most people carry, that without modern dentistry, prehistoric mouths were rotting wrecks full of pain and infection. But when archaeologists study fossilized teeth from hunter-gatherer populations, they find something unexpected. The cavities are rare, the gum disease is minimal. In some ancient populations, the dental health was genuinely better than ours. So what were they doing? Let's start at the very beginning, before any tools, before any ritual, before anyone thought to put anything in their mouth on purpose for hygiene. The most primitive form of dental care was diet itself. Hunter-gatherers ate food that required real chewing, raw meat, fibrous plants, nuts, roots, hard seeds. The act of chewing that food created friction against the teeth. The texture of the food cleaned the surface. The saliva triggered by prolonged chewing neutralized acids and washed debris away. The teeth were being cleaned continuously, involuntarily, just by the act of eating. This is not a minor detail. Modern research consistently shows that the explosion of dental disease in human history correlates almost perfectly with the introduction of soft, processed, sugar-heavy food. The ancient mouth wasn't cleaner because ancient people were more diligent. It was cleaner because the food itself was doing work that modern food stopped doing. But diet alone was never the whole story, because humans, being humans, eventually started intervening deliberately. The earliest dental tools we have evidence of are not brushes, they're picks, tiny slivers of wood, bone, or thorn used to dislodge food from between teeth. Archaeologists have found grooves worn into fossilized teeth that match the repeated use of small pointed implements. The same grooves you'd produce from decades of toothpick use. Some of these teeth date back 1.8 million years to Homo habilis. The genus Homo has been picking its teeth, apparently, almost as long as it has existed. Across the ancient world, this became formalized. The Romans used toothpicks made from metal, ivory, or silver, carrying them as personal items the way someone today might carry a pen. In China, toothpicks appear in records going back thousands of years. In Arabia, a specific twig became so synonymous with dental care that it developed its own name and its own religious significance. That twig is called the miswak. The miswak comes from the Salvadora persica tree, also known as the toothbrush tree, and it has been used across the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia for at least 7,000 years. The way you use it is simple. You cut a fresh twig, peel back the bark on one end, chew the exposed wood until the fibers separate and form a brush-like fringe, and then use that fringe to scrub your teeth. What makes the miswak interesting is not its age, it's what modern chemistry found inside it. Salvadora persica contains natural fluoride, which strengthens enamel. It contains silica, which acts as a mild abrasive to remove surface staining. It contains trimethylamine, an antibacterial compound. It contains vitamin C. It produces a natural foam when chewed that helps distribute these compounds across the surface of the teeth. A 2003 study by the World Health Organization concluded that the miswak, used correctly, is at least as effective as a toothbrush with toothpaste for reducing plaque and gum inflammation. A twig that people have been chewing for 7 millennia turns out to be genuinely, measurably good for your teeth. Ancient people didn't know why it worked. They just knew it worked, and they kept using it. The miswak is not an isolated case. Across different cultures and continents, people independently identified specific plants with similar properties and built their dental routines around them. In West Africa, the chew stick tradition used twigs from the neem tree, which contains compounds with strong antibacterial properties. Neem oil is still used in natural toothpaste today. In North America, indigenous peoples used twigs from plants like sweet gum and birch, both of which also contain beneficial compounds. In India, Ayurvedic medicine developed elaborate dental protocols involving neem twigs, oil pulling with sesame or coconut oil, and herbal pastes made from ingredients like rock salt, charcoal, and dried ginger. Oil pulling deserves its own moment here because it has become trendy again in recent years, often sold as an ancient wellness secret. And it is ancient, mentioned in texts going back roughly 3,000 years. The practice involves swishing a tablespoon of oil around your mouth for several minutes before spitting it out. The claim is that the oil binds to bacteria and pulls them away from the teeth and gums. The modern research on this is genuinely mixed. Some studies show modest reductions in harmful bacteria and plaque. Others show no significant benefit beyond what rinsing with water would achieve. What seems clear is that ancient people believed it worked, practiced it consistently, and included it as one piece of a broader dental care routine rather than a standalone cure. Now let's talk about toothpaste, because ancient civilizations had that too, just not in a tube. The earliest known written recipe for a dental cleaning powder comes from ancient Egypt, around 4,000 years ago. The ingredients: powdered ox hooves, myrrh, pumice, and burned eggshells. You'd mix these into a paste, apply it to your teeth with a cloth or your finger, scrub, and rinse. The Romans developed their own versions. Roman tooth powder typically included crushed bones, oyster shells, charcoal, and bark, sometimes combined with honey or flavoring agents. The abrasive ingredients scoured plaque and staining from enamel. The charcoal, which is now trendy again in modern dental products, did genuinely absorb some surface discoloration. The honey created antibacterial conditions. These weren't random ingredients. They were the result of centuries of accumulated trial and error about what actually made teeth look and feel cleaner. The ancient Greeks and Romans also used urine as a mouthwash. This is the part that makes modern audiences recoil, but it has a chemical logic. Urine contains ammonia, which is a base. Acids cause tooth decay. Rinsing with the base neutralizes acids in the mouth. The Romans imported urine from Portugal. Portuguese urine was apparently considered particularly potent, and it was used commercially by tooth cleaners well into the Renaissance period. Not pleasant, but not entirely without reason. The actual toothbrush, in roughly the form we'd recognize it, appears in China around the year 1498. It used a handle made from bamboo or bone, and bristles made from the stiff hairs found on the necks of Siberian pigs. This design spread slowly westward over the next few centuries, reaching Europe in the 1600s, where animal hair bristle brushes became fashionable among the wealthy. Nylon bristles didn't arrive until 1938. The modern toothbrush as a mass consumer product is less than 100 years old, which brings us back to where this started. For most of human history, there was no toothbrush. There were twigs and powders and oils and cloths and picks and dietary habits and fermented plants and rituals passed down through generations, each one representing someone's careful observation that certain things made their teeth hurt less, last longer, and stay cleaner. The ancient dental toolkit was improvised, varied, sometimes chemically accidental, and occasionally disgusting, but it was not nothing, and in populations where the diet hadn't yet been corrupted by sugar and soft food, it was often enough. The mouth is not a modern problem that modern solutions solved. It is one of the oldest problems humans ever tried to think their way around, and for a very long time, a twig did the job just fine.